Welcome back, everybody. We are in the dry stage. Everything's ready to be disassembled, everything we put on it to hold the fins, so we can start breaking the fish down. Today, my intention is build this up. We're going to use some Epoxy Sculpt. So that's going to help shape that area that dropped down when it dried. Anything that I don't like before painting, we're going to try to repair that. First things first, stripping the fish down of all of the things that held things into place. Just take all that paper wedges and things like that. The bobby pin's got to come off. Everything is really dry on this fish now, so you got to be real careful you don't break anything. So you will get things to stick a little bit here and there. No big deal. Shouldn't be, it's not glued on, so that's good. I'm just going to take all these pins off. This fish, I'd say, was drying for just about, about a week and a half. You notice it's real low right here. And unfortunately, I did skip a step. I forgot last time I was supposed to actually put clay in here and build that whole cheek up because I did take all that out of there. Take a look. This looks pretty good. Let's say we probably, just while I see it, I have a couple little things I'd like to pick off of it. Maybe a little bit of paper residue right here. This is where that kit comes in handy. I have to work that off of there. So, what we're going to do, we need to build this up. There's a couple little divots in here. I'm not worried about too much of that. This is a 50-50 mixture. A and B. You want to take equal parts of this material. It's really thick. And you're just going to estimate how much you're probably going to need for that area. I know I need less than that. I'd rather make more later than have too much now. So this stuff takes about a couple hours to start hardening up. And when it's done, we'll actually come up to this color. So basically just start taking the putty, work it together. And then just probably just hand working it back and forth, probably 30 seconds or so. So this is going to be a little bit tricky because that buildup has to happen around the jaw. So we're going to follow this around this. Then we're going to taper it toward the eye. And you can see all that inside the eye socket is all totally dried up now. Now, when you're working with this, it's helpful to have a little bit of water on hand. So I just have a solo cup of tap water next to me, and that's going to help me smooth these areas out over its face, over the jawline. So I'll put the workable putty here on a clean surface. I'm just going to shape it. Build up this entire cheek. So we can return this fish's jawline back to the original way it was. Now this stuff really bonds nice, so you don't have to worry too much about it sticking unless you got a wet surface. A little bit of water on your finger helps move this stuff around without sticking to your hand. That's coming out pretty well. You can hear my hand just touch that dorsal fin. It's really crispy. You be real careful when you're at this stage. Wrong move, you can break a fin off, no problem. Just keep your finger wet when you're doing this. It'll help smooth that out. Try to make nice natural lines. And you can see this ridge line right here, that whole ridge line. You're gonna have to blend that in. You want it to look like that. Just get that thin and work that down. That looks pretty good. So, give him his cheek back. A little bit of a negative area right here, sucked back in. I'm gonna probably fill that up. And just a little bit of Mod Podge left. We'll see if this will do it. I'm sorry that I said Mod Podge. This is actually Epoxy Sculpt. One day I'll learn what it is. Good. I'm going to look for any low areas, things that are going to need to be filled up. Usually around fish's head, this area here, top of the skull, there's just a little bit of meat there. So when that dries up, and you can't dig that out when you're cleaning it, so usually have to go in here and put just a little bit of build up there. We'll just use just a touch more. A little bit more water. Start working it around. This is a technique that I've come up with. This is in no way something that's been taught to me in any way. Just seems to work. Just pick up some of that water. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna take a look at it from the front. If I have to come back in here later and do any touch-ups or anything like that, I can do that because I'm not putting too much on. I would rather come back. This stuff sets up relatively quick, so I'd rather come back to it than try to dig it off of a delicate fish. I believe this stuff says it's sets up in about 2 hours. Yeah. So your working time is 30 minutes. Sticks. That's how long you have till you got to get it on the fish. 1 to 2 hours is easy to work with. 2 to 3 hours it's setting up, and it's you're going to start having detail hold its shape. 24 hours it becomes rock hard. That's where you can have this. So I don't want to overdo the Epoxy Sculpt on this one. I've got the Epoxy Sculpt on. I got it as far as I need to with the shape. Now I got to reinforce all these fins. Remember, these are real delicate. Before I do this one, I got to dig that off. Hopefully this comes off pretty easy. It's just a piece of paper. We'll use a sharp. We'll try to dig this one off. This is just a point. Looks like it's lifting right up. That's a good sign. Now, let's get into detail about Mod Podge. Find this anywhere. It's basically a glue. It's kind of a clear coat, glossy luster. This one here is gloss, so not a big deal because it's going to be painted anyway. Get yourself some cheap brushes. You're going to want something like this. More Amazon stuff, goodies from Amazon. Shake this stuff up. Now this stuff goes on white, and when it dries up it's going to be clear. It's got actually a nice pleasant smell. It smells kind of like that glue you used to use in elementary school. Just brush that on. What we're doing, and the purpose of this, is as you brush this on, it's going to glue. It's a glue. It's going to harden up, dry and clear, and that's going to reinforce the fin. It's going to only make it a little bit stronger, so that you don't have to worry about breaking these fins one day. You want to put plenty on. Don't overdo it, but just brush out anything you can. Brush it with the fin, so it doesn't leave any lines. And you're going to do both sides of each fin. So you want to get in there. Don't worry about getting it on the fish, on the body, anywhere. It's not going to show. This is pre-paint, so all this is going to be painted again. So you're gonna do this at least 3 times. That should give you an adequate thickness to each fin so that you can work around it without breaking anything. Depending on your humidity, the drying time can vary. This drying time should probably take 2-3 hours before you can put another coat over it. So this is something we're going to do. We're just going to leave, come back to it, do it again, leave, come back to it. Repetition. But doing taxidermy is all about repetition. And it's about little steps and long hold periods of time in between. And you see this back of the dorsal fin is missing all these spots here. That's exactly how we caught it. We didn't alter that in any way. We didn't damage it. That's just how it was caught. Now if you're going to set up your own little fish mounting booth, sort of like what I have, do yourself a favor. Don't do what I did. Don't make it a permanent fixture here. Give yourself something with a swivel head so you can turn the fish around. I set this up and, you know, honestly it's not complete, but it would have been nice, instead of me having to lean over the fish to get to the back, if I was able to pivot this fish. The Epoxy Sculpt hardens up in the jawline. You'll notice that it kind of looks like this jawline just kind of ends. There's no detail. So I want to change that. I want to make the Epoxy Sculpt part of that detail and get that back in there so that that's all part of it. Perfect. So we're gonna let this guy sit. We'll come back to it a couple more times. Hey guys, we are back. It's now day 1000. We are just about to put the sealer on the fish. Got my airbrush sealer. Been shaking this for the last 5 minutes. Put a little bit in here. Compressor's all filled up. That should be enough. Take a look. And cap it off. Nice even coat. You want to make sure you get a lot around the head. There's a lot of uncleanable areas there, and a lot of oils come out of the fish's skull in that area.